Hello, welcome to A Time to Think with Pastor Billy Joe Hillbilly. Today I want to talk about the existence of God, because it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to talk about God until you prove, not that that's possible, but until you can say with complete assuredness that He exists. Well, He does. Okay? So does God exist? Yes. Take my word for it. Absolutely. 100% guarantee. No ifs, ands, or buts. He exists. The idea that this physical world could exist without something beyond the physical world to create it is ridiculous to me. And I'll talk more about that in a future video. But I believe that God exists. In fact, it's beyond that. I don't believe He exists. I know He exists. Period. I have no question whatsoever God exists. Now, I'm not the smartest person that ever lived, but consider the possibility that I'm smarter than you. Don't want to offend anybody, but I may be. I have a degree. Maybe you do too. Maybe you have a doctorate. I just have a bachelor's. Fine. Let's think about this for a moment, though. I'm not an idiot. You might think because I believe that there is a God that I am, and that's fine if that's how you want to see it. But I'd like you to at least consider for a moment the following. I'm fairly smart. I believe there is a God. Okay, we find someone smarter than me and they say there isn't a God. And then we find someone smarter than that person and they say there is a God. And it goes on and on and on and on up the line until we get to the smartest person that has ever lived on the planet, which I would have to think would be Jesus, because being God as a human being, I would certainly have considered Him the smartest person that ever lived. Certainly with the greatest insight of anybody on the planet. But let's forget, divine. Let's forget those that aren't natural on both sides of their parentage. A natural human father and a natural human mother. Anyway, so let's find the smartest person that ever lived. They say there is a God. Does that mean that there is? No. A person's belief or people's beliefs don't affect reality, really. It might affect their own personal reality, but not the world, not the universe, not existence. Not in this situation, certainly. Take the smartest person that ever lived, and they say there is a God. That doesn't prove there is a God. Let's say they say there is not a God. That doesn't prove there isn't a God. You see, you can go all the way up the line and get the smartest person on the planet, which even measuring in intelligence is problematic at best. I mean, just the memorization of facts is not intelligence. Although most anyone you meet that starts quoting, dates and all this at you, you think, wow, that person's smart. I think it's more than that, of course. You have to be able to relate these facts. And although talent, artistic talent, for example, I don't know that that's intelligence per se, but I sort of group them together. So, anyway, you find the smartest person that ever lived and they believe there is a God. That doesn't mean that God exists. And if they don't believe there is a God, that doesn't mean He doesn't. His existence is not dependent upon our belief in Him or whatever. So, what I'd like to venture, something I want you to consider, is that while I can't prove the existence of God since he's not physical, I can point to the nature or the natural world around me and say, well, can you really believe this just popped into existence, that it just created itself, basically? That's not going to prove that God exists. It may point toward the existence of something beyond the physical. But I would like you to consider this. This is extraordinarily important in my mind. While I may not be able to prove the existence of God, I think you need to prove to yourself that he doesn't exist. So again, I'm talking to people who don't believe at this, at this point in this series of videos. I'm talking to people who don't believe, I guess, primarily, or my target audience. Anyway, so you don't believe there's a God. I can't prove that there is. Consider for the moment that I'm right and there is. I might not be able to prove that he exists, but you better work a little harder in your life to prove to yourself that he doesn't, I guess is what I'm saying. You better be comfortable with that, because when you face him at the end of your life, you're going to have to be able to say, well, wait, I knew you didn't exist. No one proved to me that you did. I was so certain you didn't. Maybe that'll give you some comfort when you face eternity separated from him. I don't guess it really will. Anyway, but understand what I'm saying. I can't prove he exists, that God is real. But you better feel really comfortable in your own mind. If you don't believe he exists, you better get comfortable with that. Because if there's any doubt, and I'm right, oh my, your future could be pretty bleak. And I'll talk more about that too in a future video. But right now, let's just say the complete and total absence of love and happiness for all eternity. I think it's something to consider. Consider, what if I'm right? What if Pastor Hillbilly is right? What does that mean to me? What would it mean to me? You owe it to yourself. You need to be comfortable. If you have any doubts, keep listening. Maybe I'll say something that will make sense to you. I'll close with one final thought. Though there is a God, and I know there is a God, let's say for a moment there isn't. Okay? Living your life, though, as if there is a God, when, of course, again, there is a God. I'm just saying, for sake of argument, if there was not a God, living though there is one, living as if there is an all-powerful, all-knowing being that we will be answering to at the end of our lives, would be a good way to live, even if it turned out not to be true. It's not my best argument for the existence of God. But this is my argument, or one of my arguments, for behaving as if there is. If we treated each other with love and respect, kindness, took care of each other, helped each other out, isn't that the way we should live? Isn't that the way we should exist and treat each other with love and kindness and respect? It doesn't mean I can't say that you're wrong, or that you can't say that I'm wrong, that we can't disagree, that we can't have conversations where we state our opinions and maybe we disagree on some things and maybe we'll agree on some things, and that's fine. We don't have to hurt each other. I can say I respectfully differ with you in this. You know, it's like, I saw this on the internet. It's a quote from a famous individual who now I don't recall who that was. But anyway, some patriot. Something about, you know, I may not agree with what you're saying, but I will fight to the death to defend your right to say it. Isn't that the way we should treat each other? I will, you know, disagree with you. I will, you know, or I might. And I might tell you that. But I'm not going to try to hurt you. I'm just going to say, this is the way I see it. Maybe you don't see it the same way. And that's okay. But anyway, I'm only doing this out of love, not to hurt people's feelings. So, anyway, I guess that's enough of me rambling for video number 2. Now, I have an outline of what I want to say and all of that, and I'll post that when I post this, you know, my first videos. I'm not necessarily going to record them in the same order that I'm, you know, that I think they fit logically, sort of an outline, sort of a geometric proof. If this, then that. If that, then this other. Whichever. But anyway, so I hope you get something out of this, and I hope you have a great afternoon, evening, morning, night, whatever it is, wherever you are, whenever you are.